Hello and welcome back to the Liz Experiment YouTube channel. This is the channel where I share field notes from my journey towards architecting my best life. I'm here, where am I this week? I am in Budapest, Hungary. That's right, I've taken the Liz Experiment over to Europe. I arrived in Europe on the continent on Saturday, and then now I was in Copenhagen, Denmark at that time, and now I'm here in Budapest. And I'm here visiting and staying with my best friend Christina, whom I tried to get on the channel, and she would have done it, but she said she doesn't really like having her face recorded. I don't know. Erica, if you're watching this, I really wanted her to be on the channel today to say hello to you since you gave a request and commented, but no dice. It's all good though. It's all good. So I'm here visiting her. I got here I'm recording this and uploading it on Thursday. So I arrived in Budapest on Sunday night and I leave next Thursday. So I've been working and settling into European life. And I've been working on kind of like getting on a new schedule. So I'm 6 hours ahead of New York, and that means I'm 9 hours ahead of the West Coast. And all of my clients right now are either on either coast or somewhere in between. And so it's been kind of cool. And this is part of the Liz experiment, right? It's kind of breaking down everything and seeing what works for me and what doesn't. And so right now I'm testing the whole schedule thing. Like, do I like not hearing from anybody until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and having some really good focus time in the morning to do my work, and then using my afternoons and my early evenings to kind of to catch up with everybody, to talk with clients, et cetera, et cetera. So far it's working. We'll see. I haven't really gotten a chance to explore the city yet because I've been working so much, and Christina, who I'm staying with, has been working as well. But tonight we're going to trivia night at the pub, so I'm excited for that. And then this weekend we're going to do a whole bunch of exploring, maybe leave the city itself or maybe go down into the center of the city. Hopefully there will be a beer garden involved and some Hungarian food, although most of the food that I've had in Europe is pretty good anyway. So let's talk about what did I learn this week. So first thing I learned this week was due to the tragedy of losing my dear friend Kofi, last week my time in Copenhagen was significantly shortened. And what I learned is that I could be in a new place for 30 hours or less and still really enjoy myself. And the biggest part of doing that for me was, one, I was there with friends who had been there for a few days and who kind of already knew some of the highlights and where to go and what food to get and where to get great coffee in Danish. But I also just didn't put a lot of pressure on myself. So I think I mentioned this. I think I mentioned it in last week's video, but I also mentioned it on the blog. One of the things that I've been working on is meeting myself where I'm at. And that experience with Copenhagen, I just met myself where I was at. I only have 30 hours in the city. I'm not going to be able to do everything. But I've been on this journey towards architecting my best life. What is my best life for 30 hours in the city? So that was interesting experiment to run and see how it worked. And it worked out pretty well. I also learned that people read my blog. I suppose I learn that every week. Many of you put comments on the blog, and I'm just super grateful for all of that and happy that my words are resonating and are helpful. And this week, actually just last night, I received an email from a gentleman named Thomas in Chicago, and he knew Kofi when Kofi was in a design program there. And it was just the most wonderful note to kind of have him say, I heard about Kofi, he was my friend, your dedication to him really helped me. And I thought, wow, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing this, both for him and me. But just to kind of enrich my human experience and the human experience of those around us. So I learned that I'm succeeding in that realm. The other thing I learned this week, and that my business partner Diana and also dear friend Diana were working on, was that we just have way too much on our plate in trying to build up our new strategy consulting business. We have some client work that keeps us busy. We are trying to do a million things at once, which is keeping us even more busy. And in the process, we're not getting anything done. And so we learned that we want to focus our efforts, which is probably something anybody would tell you, but we're just getting there. And it was kind of crazy because we just had this conversation last night. And as soon as we got off the call, I noticed in our company email box, a gentleman had emailed us about a blog post we'd written and asking us if we wanted to partner on different content stuff. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of like, as soon as we let go of trying to do everything, some really important foci started coming in. So that's pretty cool. What I worked on this week was holding my own energy while traveling. Something that I was really nervous about or thinking about. I don't know if I was like so much nervous about it, but I was just kind of thinking about it, which was when I'm traveling in Europe, I'm not pet sitting yet. I'm mostly staying with friends. When I get to Portugal later in the beginning of May or middle of May, that'll be different. But for the first few weeks, I was going to be with friends. And when you're staying with people, how do you not absorb their energy and live their life while not being a jerk for maybe not conforming? So that was something that was on my mind. But when I got to Copenhagen and now in Budapest, I have been able to realize that that's a reality or thinking that's only really happening in my head, and that I can hold my own energy and my own presence and my own calm and meet myself and others where they're at and where I'm at, and really just kind of be happy. So that's been a fun experiment to run as well. It's just kind of like, yeah, I'm here. I'm in Europe. I'm doing my own thing, but I'm also being able to be present with others, and that's as opposed to before where I may have been like, what is she thinking about me? What are they thinking about me? Am I doing this right? Those thoughts I've been able to kind of let go of as I constantly come back to meeting myself and meeting others where they're at. Another thing, and this was something that I wanted to talk about, I think last week, but obviously there were some other things to bring up. One thing that I've been working on this week are the thoughts about and the pressure, thinking about the pressures of settling down and kind of having children or not, but the pressures to have children post my sister-in-law's baby shower, which was almost 2 weeks ago now. This was a request. Thanks again, Erica. Or at least an idea. I'm calling it a request to make myself sound official. So just act like it was a request. But, and I loved it because it's something that I was thinking about a lot. And I went to the baby shower. So the baby shower was in my hometown in upstate New York. It's a very small town or a very small area. Many of the people live very similar lives, which is that traditional kind of, you graduate high school or you go to school and you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you retire, you maybe travel, and then you might do something else before your life ends. And so I was in that environment when I was at the baby shower, and I was looking around recognizing that nothing about my life is that. I have work, but I don't go to work on a normal schedule. I'm in Europe while my clients are in New York, and most of the people at home couldn't tell you what I do for a living or how I make money. I don't have children. I'm not trying to have children. I'm not married. I don't have a long-term partner of any kind. And I was thinking about that while I was at home. And then I went back to the city and I was with some of my friends the night before Kofi's funeral services. And I was lucky enough to be staying in an apartment with 3 other friends. And I looked around and recognized none of the 4 of us had to go to work the next day. None of the 4 of us were taking care of children at that time. One of our friends was married, but obviously she was up hanging out late at night, playing Monopoly or whatever we were doing. And I thought, wow, what an untraditional life for all of us. So the point of all that is to say, I felt like when I'm back in the small town environment, I definitely feel the pressure. I used to feel it way more, I should say. But by exposing myself and being present in the environments where I'm happy and those pressures don't exist, I recognize my truth. And my truth is not that it's not that I necessarily will never do this or will never do that. It's more right now that's not on my plate, and I don't want it to be right now. Whatever it is, kids, husband, whatever. What's on my plate is figuring out who I am and what I like and what I don't like and what I want and what I don't want. So as far as feeling the pressure after the baby shower, it's almost like instead of feeling pressured when I was home, it was more noticing the difference of who I am now versus who I was and how I was brought up. And accepting and loving myself no matter what. And recognizing that everybody around me is pretty much doing that too in their own way. They may not, be overly celebratory of my journey or whatever, but I'm not overly celebratory of theirs either. But it's not a diss. It's more just, okay, that's where she's at. This is where I'm at. This is what life is, So that was my week this week. Next week, oh God, what is the date? So as I mentioned, next week, I think I'm going to probably do another video here in Budapest because on next Wednesday, maybe, because Thursday I fly to Switzerland where I'll be staying with some dear friends through the weekend. And then that will be, I think it's like the 2nd through the 5th. And then on the 5th, I fly to Lisbon, Portugal, and Portugal is where I'll be for a month. So you'll see several videos there. Please, again, if you have any comments, I've been really appreciating all the emails and comments and likes and not likes, just any feedback at all about what I'm sharing. I'd love to hear about it. Any of the blog posts or anything that I've talked about today that I have information on, I'll provide links in the description. What else? I guess, let me know again how you're living your best life. I need as much help as anybody in figuring that out. If you want to stay up to date on these videos as they come out, please subscribe below. And until next time, thanks for watching.